Alright guys, today we are going to do the carburetor on a John Deere 3800 psi 4 gallon per minute pressure washer. This is just a Honda gx390. I have other videos of how to clean the carburetors on these. Starts on choke, take it off choke, it shuts right back off. That's carburetor. Check your oil, make sure it's full first, etc., etc. Alright, first we're going to go ahead take off this air filter assembly. Then we're going to take off the air filter. There's more of the assembly that comes off. Alright, and then we've got two 10mm nuts here and one 10mm bolt right here. Alright, now we're going to turn the choke all the way this way and the fuel all the way this way, and then this will pull straight off. Oh, there's a tube in the back. Pull that, it'll pull right off. Pulls right off, no problem. Pull the choke arm straight up now. Pull the gasket off. Alright, so fuel line out of that. We're going to grab this with a pair of needle nose pliers and open it to clamp. Clamps come up fuel line a little bit. And before I take that off, we'll get a bottle to drain it into. We're going to take this off and we're going to drain it into a container. I like using a clear bottle so I can see what kind of gas is in it. This is a little yellow. Not bad though. I'd say that he's probably using high octane. That's why it's yellow. You don't want to use high octane in these, low octane only. Or it's low octane that's already started evaporating off and started becoming yellow. Or he put fresh gas in on top of old gas and it's yellow because of that. So don't let it overflow from the bottle. Dispose of this properly. This just lets you know if you got water in your gas or what's going on. I don't see any water in this, so I think he's all right that way. Still got to do the carburetor. It's bad, but it just lets me know why I got to do the carburetor. I'm leaning towards it sat too long. Just make sure you drain all the gas out. They filled this tank all the way up on me. So I'm going to drain it all out, and then you're going to want to clean and dry it. I just use an air hose and I blow it all out, make sure it's all blown out, and then there's no water, no dust in there, no nothing. Then we're going to pull this back a ways, full throttle it by hand, and then you can bring the rod over and push it straight up, just like that. Spring just popped out too, but the spring's in this little hole. It goes in that little hole there. It just popped out with it because it came out so quickly. So, alright, pull this all the way off. Now when you flip it upside down, have like a clean area so you can see what comes out of the carburetor. Look for water droplets, anything like that. I don't see no water at all, so we'll find out why this wasn't running right in a minute. Alright, we're going to take this 10mm right here out. And the bottom of the bolt is kind of giving a sign of what's going on. It's a little funky in there. So the gasket stayed on the carburetor. It goes between the engine and the carburetor. Make sure you just leave that on. Just don't mess with it. Sometimes you got to tap the bowl. Get it to break free. Alright, so the gasket on the bowl's coming off. It's sticking on the bowl. You're going to want to leave that there too. You just don't mess with it. You're going to put it back on, because if you do, then you're going to have to replace the gasket. I'll see if I can find them and put them into the gasket in the description. I'll put all brand new carburetor in the description for you too. If it stays in here, just leave it in there. If it kind of comes out, push it right back in and leave it there so it doesn't swell when you start cleaning the carburetor. Alright, pull this pin out. And needle valve, float, and everything comes out one piece basically. Alright, there's a little flathead slot in there. That is your high jet, your high-end jet. You're going to want to take that out. What I did was I took a number 2 flathead screwdriver and I ground the edges off of it, the sides. Let me get this. Ground the sides off of it so that it was even with the actual tip, and that made it to where it'll fit right in to grab that flathead screw. So unscrew that. Now if you go in there and you start to try to unscrew it and it starts stripping, don't even bother with it. We'll just clean it while it's inside. But it's if you can get it out, it's best to get it out. Set the jet to the side. There's an orifice tube inside there as well. Oh, let me turn this flashlight on. If you go in to the front, you can pry it up. If you look in there, you'll see behind this throttle arm. See that brass tube right there? You just push it up and it'll push it all out. It doesn't have to come out, but again, it's nice to pull it all the way out. It's the orifice tube. So you got a bigger side hole and then a flat side. The flat side always goes out this way. So, orifice tube. That's another thing to clean. Alright, 10 millimeter. We're going to pop this off. Now, sometimes this nut will strip. You can grab it with a pair of channel locks and grab it off. Turn it, break it free, get it off. Or if you're just mangling it, don't mangle it too much. Just leave it on there if you got to. I mean, you know, because sometimes these sediment bowls get a bunch of sand in them and you want to get that out of there. But if you can't, you can always blow through this and it'll come out here, and blow through there and it'll come out here. And you can usually rinse them out that way anyways. Then idle circuit. We're going to take the idle screw out. And with a screwdriver you can just pry this triangle cap right off. And then again with a screwdriver, get it up under here. You can give it a little pry. That's your idle jet, your idle circuit right here. So you can pry that out. Pull that off. And sometimes it's a brass jet, sometimes it's a plastic jet, but you're going to clean that. These are your 3 main parts that need to be cleaned. And then these little hole here and this little hole here, right there, those 2 need to be cleaned really well too. Here's one of the tricks of my trade right here, and nobody really knows this, so you're learning something that no other small engine mechanic knows. And this is 14 karat gold testing acid. This will burn your hands, this will burn your eyes. Wear safety goggles. Always wear safety goggles. Wear plastic gloves if you're worried about your hands. If you get it on your hands, just rinse it with water. Hell, I got a big tub of gasoline I can rinse it off with. You get it in your eyes, don't rinse it with gasoline. That'll suck even more. Rinse it with water. Get it out and you're fine, dude. The water will neutralize it right away. Get it right out of there. Just flush it out. And you'll be fine. Just don't freak out. Don't run into a wall and knock yourself out, because acid will still sit there and burn your eyes and fuck you up. Alright. So we're going to take this, and it doesn't take 1 or 2 drops. Drop or 2 in there, drop or 2 in there, drop or 2 in there. And you see them just sizzling and boiling, cleaning. You do a drop or 2 in here. I'll put this acid in the description below. This bottle, I will do more than 50 carburetors with it. nice to have. It makes your jets like brand new. Works every time type of stuff. Alright, when you get it, when it stops boiling, you can still kind of simmer until we'll let it, but you'll take a can of carb cleaner with a straw and you'll slowly rinse it, very slowly rinse this out so that it doesn't squirt you in the face. Once you got it where you got it pretty rinsed out and you're sure there's no acid, then you're going to go hard with it and really push down, you know, really blow them out, make sure that they're clean. So we're going to slowly rinse. And then when we get it clear, just to give you an idea, I'm going to have to do it with two hands, but when you get it really clear, you're going to really blow it through. So that way you can make sure it's got a nice clean stream just blasting out of it and everything's clean. So I'm going to go through and spray all these orifices out. We're going to spray through here really well. Make sure that's coming out of this. You're going to spray through this fuel inlet really well. You're going to rinse everything out really well. And you're going to super clean your bowl and your float system. Get it all very clean. Once you got all the parts taken care of, we're going to slowly reassemble it. So we're going to put the orifice tube in, flat side up, not this side up. Then we're going to put the jet in. See how nice and clean that thing is? It's like a brand new jet now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put that in, the flat side down against the flat side of the orifice tube. And then we're going to screw that in tight with our flathead screwdriver. Got that in nice and tight. This is all nice and clean. Make sure the rubber tip is clean. I will take it and rub it in a circular motion on my pants and check it and make sure that it's nice and clean, no debris at all. I'm going to stick it in, the needle valve going into the hole. And make sure this keeper pin is clean and shove it through everything to hold it all in place. I need both hands. Alright, put this back on, tighten it down. I didn't take the gasket off. We're going to just slide it in place. That gasket sits in the hole perfectly. You're going to want to make sure that this is on the opposite side of this. So you're going to do it right like that, and you'll feel it just kind of slide right in, you know, or it'll just sit right on top of it. No big deal. Make sure you clean the bolt out real good. Just rub it on your pants, spray it off, whatever you got to do. Just make it nice and clean. Notice I didn't take this gasket off either. If it's on this bolt or it's on there, I just don't mess with it. If it does come off, that's fine. Just set it to the side. You don't want to break it because it means more parts you got to buy. I do a lot of these Honda carburetors and I rarely have to put any new parts in them. So if you're just careful with the gaskets, you'll be fine. Clean it up, go on about your business. If it's really bad, just get a brand new carburetor. I'll put it in the description. Super simple. Alright, tighten these two down. We're going to put the idle circuit back in. It's got two flat spots. It's got a flat spot right there. Make sure that flat spot's against that one. Shove it in, line it up, push it all the way down. Then you're going to go ahead and put the triangle on top of that. That holds it in place underneath the idle screw. Make sure you screw the idle screw in. Screw it down in until, you know, it's halfway in basically. To where you would idle. If you have to, when you start it up and you bring it to idle and it shuts off, just bring it in further. Or if it's idled too high, bring it back out a little bit. That's how you'd adjust it. The gasket's in between the motor. Slide it right back on. Just get it in a little ways. And then we're going to get this. You don't want to have to pull this too much or you'll change the governor on it and it'll over rev. You want to get it to where it'll fit in there. So you just get it up, on. Oh, a little bit further. on the thing, push it down, and then it's fine. And then the spring will hook right into here. So the spring right here will hook right in that hole right there. Just like that. The spring in there. And I can push this all the way back. Pull this way. And you get the choke arm installed. And make sure it's pulled that way. And we're going to take the gasket on. We're going to take air filter assembly, put it on. You see everything goes in there real nice and easy. Put the hose on the back of this on and in place. Alright, 10mm nut, 10mm nut, 10mm bolt. Put it all back together. Almost forgot the fuel line. Go ahead and stab that back into place down in here. A little easier before this, but it can be done. Don't forget the fuel line, it's important. Clamp all the way back on. See how this gas clouded up? Reacted to the moisture in the air. It's ethanol gas absorbing the moisture right out of the air, right in front of your face. It just turned, it was clear, and now all of a sudden it's cloudy. It just sucked the moisture right out of the air while I was working on this. Always use non-ethanol fuel. You're going to pay a little more for the fuel, but you're either going to pay me or you're going to pay them. So you always use ethanol fuel. Alright, so we got all this on here. This is full choke. This is fuel on. Got all that in position. I'm going to drain this out in my disposal container so I don't make a mess. I put a little bit of gas. I cleaned the tank, put a little gas in it, so we can test fire this thing up. We don't want to let this run too long. There's no water hooked up to it. I'm going to be using this, testing it on the mule that I got outside. My buddy's mule. It's real dirty, so we'll test this really well today. All right, then you go ahead and put your air filter assembly on. Put your air filter on. Ring nut. Filter cover on. Find the hole. Nut on top of that. Hey guys. Alright, this help you in any way, shape, or form. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Today's t-shirt will be in the description below. So will all of today's parts that you may need. They got a whole kit for these things. Got the carb, the recoil, the coil, gaskets, everything you could, spark plug, everything you could use for this thing for super cheap. I'll put that in the description below. Hope this helped. Peace.
I don't know anything about the Orifice